And finally, we shift from the war in the Middle East to the war in Europe. Russia has unleashed one of its deadliest attacks on Ukraine's capital this year. Overnight strikes killed at least 15 people and injured dozens others, hitting cities such as Kyiv and Odesa. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia sent more than 440 drones and 32 missiles for its attack on the cities.
Attacks are pure terrorism. Putin does this solely because he can afford to continue the war. He wants the war to go on. It is wrong when the powerful of this world turn a blind eye to it.
About 27 locations across the capital were struck during several waves of attacks throughout the night, damaging residential buildings, schools, and critical infrastructure. One Kyiv district, a ballistic missile reduced part of a 9-story apartment building to rubble. Visuals from the scene showed emergency workers combing through debris and dousing flames with hoses.
I have never seen anything like this. It is horrible. When people were being taken out of the rubble, when they were taking them out, some were wounded. There were elderly and children. They had cuts on their hands. A little boy from our part of the building had his neck cut, was taken to hospital to have it treated. It was all horrible.
Kyiv's mayor said that a 62-year-old U.S. citizen was among those killed, dying from shrapnel injuries inside his home. Meanwhile, in the southern port city of Odesa, drones struck another residential building, killing one person and injuring at least 17 others.
Thank God I am alive. I hope all the neighbors are alive. I didn't care about the building. I just ran because I understood that I have to save myself. Life is the only thing valuable we have.
And at the same time, Russia's defense ministry claimed it intercepted more than 140 Ukrainian drones over its own territory, including the Moscow region. But none reportedly caused the level of destruction seen in Ukrainian cities. The latest attacks come as Russia's full-scale invasion enters its 4th year, with hostilities escalating in recent weeks after 2 failed rounds of peace talks between Kyiv and Moscow in Istanbul. Russian troops are pressing ahead with a grinding advance in eastern Ukraine and have opened a new front in the northeastern Sumy region, despite ceasefire calls from President Donald Trump, who promised to end the war quickly. Earlier in the day, Ukrainian President Zelensky, who was attending the G7 summit in Canada, said he hoped the United States and Europe would finally respond to Russia's aggression after these latest attacks. On Monday, French President Emmanuel Macron said there was a need to go further with sanctions against Russia over its war in Ukraine.
And so today, our conviction is that if we want to move towards peace, we must indeed demonstrate our resolve together and our ability to go much further with sanctions. The European Union has prepared a new set of sanctions, but which is, by its nature, a profound break with the previous ones.
Now, President Trump said he was holding off on new sanctions against Russia, waiting to see if a deal could be struck with Moscow to end the war. And speaking at the G7 summit in Canada, President Trump also said removing Russia from the former group of 8 over a decade ago was a mistake, but he stopped short of calling for Moscow to return to the group.
It used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But it didn't work out that way.
And with the death toll climbing and pressure mounting, Ukraine's appeal is now firmly on the G7 table. But whether it translates into action still remains uncertain.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
geschäftsführenden Direktoren,
Hindi,
$30 trillion का कर्ज है.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.